It's trade time, bringing you some buy-sell targets for Week 5 fantasy football. And starting it off with the buys, my first buy is going to be Breece Hall for the New York Jets, and it just hasn't been great for Breece Hall up to this point in the season. And the thing that I wanted to highlight with Breece Hall is Braylon Allen has taken a larger portion of the overall snap share than we first projected. Now, 3 fantasy points this last week, it wasn't great, but 18, 24, and 18 fantasy points in the first 3 weeks. If we start to take a look at the yards per carry metrics, the yards before and after contact, Braylon Allen is actually beating Breece Hall. I think Braylon Allen was the steal of the draft for the Jets in the 4th round, especially at the running back position. And I think Breece Hall, as talented as he is, he's right now the 13th overall running back. And I am just a little bit worried about Breece Hall going forward. Now, I still have Breece Hall as a top 3 running back rest of the season. I think a lot of people are going to be panicking on a guy like Breece Hall after this performance, and kind of after the Jets, it has been a little bit on the struggle bus for them so far. So when we're going to be looking at some trades, I just want to give you a little bit of an idea of what you could potentially be getting done. So someone on today just traded Braylon Allen and Breece Hall for Aaron Jones and Michael Pittman Jr. Give me that Braylon Allen and Breece Hall over the Aaron Jones and Michael Pittman side. You got Chris Godwin and Breece Hall for Derrick Henry and Tyreek Hill. I think you're taking Chris Godwin over Tyreek Hill easily, and then you're also taking Breece Hall over Derrick Henry after that amazing week. I still want that Breece Hall, Chris Godwin side. We got Breece Hall and Brandon Ayuk for Malik Neighbors and James Cook. Give me the Breece Hall, Brandon Ayuk side over Malik Neighbors and James Cook. And listen, I understand Malik Neighbors, absolutely incredible dealing with that concussion. So you might be able to debate that one and say, Caleb, you're an idiot there. But I do want that side. Breece Hall and George Pickens for Alvin Kamara, Jameson Williams. Listen, I know there's a lot of people in the comments that have said, hey, Caleb, I'd rather have Alvin Kamara over Breece Hall rest of the season, but I'm still buying into Breece Hall. I think you need to be buying into Breece Hall too. My next buy is going to be A.J. Brown for the Philadelphia Eagles. And this hamstring issue for A.J. Brown, we saw an amazing week 1, and then it's been absolutely quiet for A.J. Brown. So whoever has A.J. Brown, and this is me speaking for A.J. Brown because I own him in a bunch of my leagues, might be panicking if their team is 1-3 or 0-4 because they just haven't been able to have A.J. Brown. And I think coming into week 6, if we can wait, if you're a team that you can wait until week 6 for A.J. Brown to come back, you got to feel great about it. So when we're starting to look at trades, A.J. Brown and Zach Charbonnet for Amon-Ra St. Brown, I love me some Zach Charbonnet. So I have these guys close enough that I'll take the A.J. Brown plus side for Amon-Ra St. Brown, even though Amon-Ra St. Brown's arguably turned back into that top 3 wide receiver at the last 3 weeks. DJ Moore, Najee Harris for A.J. Brown. Give me A.J. Brown side there. A.J. Brown for Marvin Harrison Jr. and Khalil Shakir. I understand that deal. That feels pretty fair, but I still lean the A.J. Brown side. A.J. Brown and Jaden Daniels for Kenneth Walker and Deontay Johnson. Give me the Jaden Brown, A.J. Brown side. I just think A.J. Brown is such a great buy, and we're just waiting for him to come back. Listen, Saquon Barkley's look good. Jalen Hurts, we've been missing both him and Devontae Smith, but Devontae Smith in this Kellen Moore offense, I think we're going to continue to see good things for A.J. Brown. So definitely be targeting some A.J. Brown in trades this week. My next guy that we're going to be talking about in the trade circuit is going to be Brock Bowers for the Raiders. And we talked about Brock Bowers last week, and I'm bringing him back up this week because he had 7 points last week, and he had 5 points this week. The major thing for me with Brock Bowers, he had a higher snap share, so he had an 81% snap share, but only got 3 targets versus this Cleveland Browns defense. Clearly, the defense, their pass rush with Myles Garrett was really impacting Gardner Minshew, and especially with no Devontae Adams, you thought Brock Bowers might emerge. I still think he's currently a super strong addition at the tight end position, because right now, the tight end position, we feel maybe slightly better about it this week than we did last week, because we did see a few guys perform, but Brock Bowers is still going to be my tight end 1 at the top of the list. And when we're looking at trades going down for Brock Bowers, we got Brock Bowers and Chris Olave for Brandon Ayuk, Trey McBride, Khalil Shakir. Give me the Chris Olave, Brock Bowers side. We got Brock Bowers and Khalil Shakir for Stephon Diggs, Jake Ferguson. You might be able to convince me on the Stephon Diggs, Jake Ferguson, but I personally still want that Brock Bowers side. We got Brock Bowers and CJ Stroud for Travis Kelce, Sam Darnold. Give me the Brock Bowers, CJ Stroud side, even though Travis Kelce just had a massive week. Then we got Brock Bowers, DJ Moore, Rashad Bateman for TJ Hawkinson and AJ Brown. That's a hard one because I do really like AJ Brown there. But I do think, as you can kind of see, there are some like Dave Montgomery for Brock Bowers and Jonathan Taylor. That has to be something majorly went wrong there for that team. But I do think Brock Bowers is a huge buy. And bringing up my next buy is going to be Sam LaPorta. And like we said, really this week, Sam LaPorta popped off. Travis Kelce popped off. Travis Kelce, assuming there's going to be no Rashee Rice, is going to continue to pop off. I just did not want to put him in the buy section because I think it's going to be hard to buy Travis Kelce under these circumstances. I think the last 2 weeks you could have brought Travis Kelce a little bit more, but I think going forward, it's going to be hard to buy Travis Kelce. But when we're talking about Sam Sam LaPorta, better day for sure in week 4 with 9 fantasy points compared to week 3 where he only had 5 fantasy points, had an 89% snap share, 4 targets, 4 receptions for 53 yards. So it's still not good for Sam LaPorta. But if you watch the game, he does look like he's getting healthy. He was targeted a fair amount. I know Jameson Williams had that long catch. Hear me out. I understand that. But we still need to have a tight end that's producing. And yes, all of us early tight end drafters are getting absolutely fleeced right now with the lack of production from George Kittle, Sam LaPorta, Trey McBride, Kyle Pitts, Mark Andrews. I understand. But if you did not go elite heavy level tight end at the beginning and you're going to be able to swing some deals from maybe a higher end tight end that you can put in week by week, I absolutely love it. So when we're going to be looking at some trades here, we can see that the first one that sticks out to me is this Sam LaPorta straight up for Jake Ferguson. I think a lot of people might take Jake Ferguson at this point. I still want Sam LaPorta. Sam LaPorta for JSN. Sam LaPorta for Kyle Pitts. Sam LaPorta for Justin Fields and Pat Freiermuth. If you already have an elite level quarterback, maybe you don't need Justin Fields on your bench. You're going to stream it. Do like that. So I do think there are some deals for Sam LaPorta that you definitely need to be taking into consideration going forward. Sam LaPorta is a good buy. And then my final buy that I'm going to be having is going to be Jordan Addison. Jordan Addison returned from injury and pretty much took back over the role that he thought he would, which was the Jalen Naylor role, where he came down with 1 touchdown, 4 targets, 3 receptions for 72 yards, and that touchdown for 22 points. Now, it's impressive even without the touchdown for Jordan Addison's first week back. But what that tells me is we do not need to be worried about Jordan Addison heading into the rest of the season. Yes, is he maybe a high-end wide receiver 3, a low-end wide receiver 2, where you're going to have him in your flex week by week, and he's going to have high upside weeks and low downside weeks? Sure. But he does have immense touchdown upside. And so when you're taking looks, Jordan Addison or Zach Moss, give me Jordan Addison. Then we got like Jordan Addison, DeAndre Hopkins, give me Jordan Addison. Jordan Addison, T. Higgins, that's an interesting one. Very close together. Jawan Jennings, someone pivoted out of Jawan Jennings to get into Jordan Addison. Yeah, I think there's some major deals to be going and trying to buy some Jordan Addison. When we move on to our sells, first guy is going to be Jameson Williams for me for the Detroit Lions. It's not because Jameson Williams did not perform good, because if we look at his 4 games that he's played this year, week 3 against Arizona, only 1.2 fantasy points, but this last week, 16 fantasy points, 14 fantasy points, 24 fantasy points in week 1, all in full PPR. He's getting the target share against Seattle. It was really that huge, long 70-yard touchdown. So if he doesn't get that, maybe a little bit less, but he did lead the team in receiving on Monday night. So you're going to say to me, well, Caleb, why are you trying to trade away Jameson Williams? I just think at this point, we can start to pivot, especially with this bye week coming up, into other assets that potentially we like more heading down the stretch. And so when you're starting to take a look at some trades, like I said, it's all based on value. So if you're not able to get value, I would still, of course, hold on to Jameson Williams. But if you can do a tier up, this is really where I'm saying to sell some Jameson Williams. When we're looking at Ramondre Stevenson and Jameson Williams for Marvin Harrison Jr., absolutely give me the Marvin Harrison Jr. side. When we're looking at Ramondre Stevenson, Jameson Williams to get to Chris Olave, give me Chris Olave. Now, if you're down here at like this 10 where you're able to do like the Jameson Williams for Chuba Hubbard, like of course I'm just going to hold Jameson Williams there. But I do think that those are the moves that I would potentially be doing if I did have Jameson Williams, just to be getting a higher upside player on my team. I know Jameson Williams has high-end upside, but I do think you're going to get a little bit more consistency if you were going to tier up off of him, and that's something that I am excited to do. My next player that I am trying to sell high right now, it is going to be Xavier Worthy. And Xavier Worthy catches the long touchdown in this Chargers game, 73% snap share, 16 fantasy points, 4 targets, 3 receptions for 73 yards, and a total touchdown. And listen, we are going to see Xavier Worthy without Rashee Rice. We don't know at this point. Like I said, I'm recording this on Tuesday morning. Is Rashee Rice out for season? Is he going to come back at some point? But at least for, I imagine, the next 4 to 5 weeks, it's going to be the lone Xavier Worthy show. So you might say to me, this is the perfect time to hold on to Xavier Worthy because he's going to be the alpha, going to be getting all the opportunity. We're talking 20, 16 fantasy point games from here on out, which that could be the optimistic point of view. The other point of view is, hey, it's only the Travis Kelce and Xavier Worthy. Can Xavier Worthy be the true one that Patrick Mahomes is going to need? Can he take over for Rashee Rice? And with people arguing that he should be taking over for Rashee Rice, is this going to be a good time to try to get out from Xavier Worthy? So for me personally, I am going to be trying to get out, especially in redraft. When we're talking dynasty, it's a little bit different, of course, with Xavier Worthy. But when we're looking at deals, Xavier Worthy, Kenneth Walker for Jahmyr Gibbs. After what we just saw Kenneth Walker do, I think this might be a hard deal, but I do personally want the Jahmyr Gibbs. Someone traded Xavier Worthy for Malik Neighbors. Come on. There's no way that that's reality, but if someone's smoking the Xavier Worthy Kool-Aid and clearly haven't seen Malik Neighbors play a single down of football, cool. Maybe do that. Xavier Worthy for Jalen Hurts. So if you need a quarterback production, that could be something. Xavier Worthy, Terry McLaurin, Jahmyr Gibbs for Bucky Irving, Marvin Harrison Jr., DeAndre Swift. That feels like a lot to give up for the Marvin Harrison Jr. side, so probably still leaning Xavier Worthy there. Xavier Worthy, George Kittle, Tony Pollard for Jake Ferguson, Garrett Wilson, Brian Robinson. I think there's some interesting deals that you can do to kind of mimic and get into different ranges. But personally for me, I would be exploring Xavier Worthy. If you got a Chiefs fanboy or someone like that in your league, would definitely be looking to pivot. And we talked about this guy in yesterday's video, and I'm just bringing him back up because I think it's really appropriate to be talking a little bit about Patrick Mahomes, as Patrick Mahomes also is very much so impacted by losing Rashee Rice. Now, Travis Kelce stepped up. I did not put Travis Kelce in this video. I know we're talking about sells, but I didn't put him as a buy because I think he's going to be way too expensive. But Patrick Mahomes hasn't been helping you win any fantasy football leagues. He's definitely not helping you lose because he's kind of been, like I said, anywhere between QB 10 to QB 12 over the last 2 weeks. But it's been so long since Patrick Mahomes has really put in consecutive QB 1 overall weeks, like finishing as the QB 1. So for me, it's just a little bit worrisome about where that overall ceiling is for Patrick Mahomes. I thought this year with Xavier Worthy, Rashee Rice, Hollywood Brown, Travis Kelce, it was going to be better. All of a sudden, we're sitting here with only Xavier Worthy and Travis Kelce looking into the future. So if you're able to kind of trade the name value alone to get into a different quarterback, I would be all in on it. Now, Patrick Mahomes for Anthony Richardson, I'm definitely still holding the Patrick Mahomes side. Patrick Mahomes, Juwan Jennings for Devontae Adams. Patrick Mahomes, Tyreek Hill for Lamar Jackson, Michael Pittman Jr., Zach Moss. That's an interesting one, especially with no Tua over the next few weeks. Patrick Mahomes, Garrett Wilson for Jaden Daniels, David Montgomery, Jalen Waddle. Someone traded the stack of Travis Kelce, Patrick Mahomes to get Jaden Daniels, David Njoku. Like, I do think the value right now is super low on Mahomes, but I'm a little bit worried that it's going to get a little bit lower. So that is kind of why I'm looking to potentially sell some Mahomes if you do have Mahomes. And my last and final player that I'm looking to sell in fantasy football, it's going to be DeAndre Swift for the Chicago Bears. And listen, he had that big reception. He absolutely had the best fantasy football day that he's had all season with 29 fantasy points, 63% snap share, 16 attempts, 93 yards, 1 total touchdown, 7 targets, 7 receptions for 72. So he was involved all over the field. And I am a big believer in Roschon Johnson. I still continue to be a big believer in Roschon Johnson. I think this was a huge spike week for DeAndre Swift. So if you're trying to get out on DeAndre Swift, I do think this would be a great opportunity for you to, when you're looking at trades, like could you trade Saquon Barkley, DeAndre Swift to get Amon-Ra St. Brown and Joe Mixon? Oh, give me the Amon-Ra St. Brown, Joe Mixon side. DeAndre Swift and Brian Thomas to get David Montgomery. High touchdown upside there. Love that deal. DeAndre Swift, Deontay Johnson. Listen, hear me out. Hear me out. I know Deontay Johnson's balling out, but someone just got David Montgomery, which I prefer rest of the season, over DeAndre Swift, and then someone just got Puka Nacua. I guess if you could hold and wait for Puka Nacua until week 8, congratulations. Deontay Johnson's balling though, so I understand that deal might feel a little wrong, but DeAndre Swift, Chase Brown for Aaron Jones, Terry McLaurin. I love the Aaron Jones, Terry McLaurin side, so I do think it is a good thing to try to evaluate what you could potentially be getting for DeAndre Swift. So if you like trading, if you like winning your fantasy football weeks, hit that like and subscribe button. We are going live tomorrow night to answer all your start sit questions, answering all your trade and start sit questions down below. Here's 2 videos if you haven't checked these out already, and I'll catch you on the next one. Peace.